Okay, that's now recording. All right, welcome everyone to our November 8th Canandaigua Lake TU meeting. Welcome to our Zoom call. We have a pretty exciting program tonight, so thank you all for coming here. And as always, we're recording the meeting, so if you want to watch it later, or you know, someone else wants to see it, we'll have a recording for this by the end of the night and put it out on our YouTube channel, so people can watch it later there. So what we're going to do tonight is give you an introduction to a beautiful place in Manitoba, Canada, called God's River Lodge. And Don, I just saw the dentist just binged in, so there he goes. So here again, really excited and to learn about this place. And it's when I first heard about it, it has a very auspicious name. So I said, well, if a place is called God's River, it's got to be some pretty good fishing. So I think it looks like it will be. So hopefully you'll enjoy this program tonight. So here's our agenda, and we'll do our usual things. We'll have our Pledge of Allegiance. We'll give you a quick business update and some volunteer updates on our conservation programs and veteran programs. And then we'll hand it over to our guest speaker, Mr. Don Hart, who's coming to us tonight from London, Ontario, and he'll give us a background. And also is Dennis Mckay, who is with the God's River Lodge, is also on the call, so he'll be able to give us some feedback on the place too. As you can see by the lake trout that Don's holding there, there's some very big fish in these waters. Okay, so like what we always like to do is do the Pledge of Allegiance. And this Thursday, November 11th, is Veterans Day, to honor all of those who've served. And I believe in Canada they call it, was it Remembrance Day, or it's a slightly different, but they celebrate the same holiday there. Commemorates the end of World War I, and we've celebrated it ever since to honor those who served our countries. So we move our hats here, and please recite their Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and thank you for honoring our veterans especially. Okay, we always like to get some fishing pictures and reports. These were from, I haven't seen Scott Pelternelli enter yet, but these are for a couple of his clients. The one on the left is a really nice steelhead from one of the Lake Erie tributaries, as they call it, the Steelhead Alley. You know, that shoreline from like Erie, PA up to Buffalo has all those great tributaries. And then the fish on the right is from Lake Ontario, and that's a beautiful male brown trout, and it's full spawning colors. And those fish, I think they almost like imitate the fall foliage this time of year, because they just, some of them, especially the males, just turn this real bright, almost pumpkin orange. So I nicknamed them Halloween brown trout, because about the time that they turn those colors, just spectacular looking fish. So I think things are improving in the tribs from what I've heard. We had so much rain in October, a lot of the streams were just, flooded. We had some real serious flooding in some of the rivers, but I believe the waters have come down pretty well, and they're starting to get to be a little more fishable. And then a couple other fish pictures. Here's kind of a polar opposites of some of the things we can catch. The panfish and bass season, because of the warm fall we had, that actually went a lot later. So this crappie, I caught it a few weeks ago on a farm pond, and beautiful coloration on it, much darker color than they typically have in the summer. So they kind of change their tones too. And then Scott also took this picture. This is a saber-tooth male salmon there. And you can see you wouldn't want to get bit by those choppers, but they really get those real bizarre looking teeth as the spawning season goes on. So that's a really almost looks like a dinosaur or something, that picture. And then here's a couple of pictures courtesy of my good friend John Galkey, who's runs the Finger Lakes Angling Zone Guide Service. And here's two of his clients he took out on Skinny Atlas Lake about a week or so ago. Really beautiful fall foliage and real nice fat smallmouth bass. And then this other client on the right there caught a walleye, which are becoming more common in the lake. There's some controversy about walleye in that lake because it has been a really good rainbow trout fishery. And so the more walleye that grow up, they'll eat the especially younger trout. So they're actually seeing small or fewer rainbows in the lake. So they encourage people, if they catch walleye, to harvest them, which personally I have no problem with because they taste so good. So, but just that's if you've never fished on that lake, I think it's the prettiest of the Finger Lakes, and it's just beautiful. You can see that real beautiful aqua watercolor it gets. Just really nice looking day they had there. So if any, welcome anybody that's new to our meetings. Another person, Gary, come in here. And if you have any questions, as we start to get a bigger audience, the best thing to do is if you can put them in the chat, just type them in the chat feature, and then I'll relay them or answer them. But especially people who have never been to one of our meetings, one of our Zoom meetings. Thanks for joining us. And here's some just quick updates where we are. We have 234 chapter members. We got a bit of a bump this year when we absorbed a lot of members from the former Conhockton Valley chapter that was dechartered. So a lot of the folks south of Canandaigua are now assigned to our chapter. So welcome all of you folks from down in the Cohocton Valley region there. And we're up to 330 members in our Facebook group, which is, if you've got a fish story to tell or a photo, that's the best place to put it. That's where I pull pictures from when I do the newsletter or this meeting here. And also we put our newsletter, our Tightline newsletter, on Facebook and also on our new website. So the two screen prints here, the top one is our new website, which went live this past July. And the bottom one is what our YouTube channel looks like. And each of these meetings, we, like I said, we record and then we later put the recording out there. And people are starting to view these too. The most popular one has been our May meeting, where we did on a profile of the Cohocton River that Al Kraus moderated for us. And we've had, looks like 145 people have viewed that meeting. So we're finding it's a really nice way to kind of catch up on things. And if you can't make the monthly meeting, you can always catch it later, the rerun of it on YouTube. And let's see. Oh, other things. Yeah, I mentioned we are recording the Zooms. And another recording we did last May is our intro to fly fishing. We recorded that and put that out on YouTube. So we've had 51 people actually view that so far. So if anyone's interested in learning how how to fly fish and to get kind of the, learn some of the jargon and the basics of it, that's a good spot to go. So let's see. Future meetings, December 13th is our next meeting, and we're still hoping to hold that in person, which would be the first in-person meeting we've had since February of 2020. So we're getting some guidance from TU and also from our board, and this, see, okay, what's the format of it, and we also need to make sure our American Legion is that their policy will allow us to hold a party. We'll probably, if we do go to a live meeting, limit the attendance to maybe around 20 or so folks. But stay tuned. We'll have a final decision on this, hopefully in about a week or two, what we're going to do in December. If we decide not to meet in person, then we'll do what we've been doing and have a program on Zoom again. Last year we just did a lot of we showed some movies in December, and that actually went pretty well. We had some old videos we found on YouTube. One with Ted Williams doing Atlantic salmon fishing and stuff like that. So it'll also the movie night has been a kind of popular thing to do in December. So hopefully we'll be able to have a get together live. A lot of other TU groups are meeting. I have started to meet in person again, including our New York State Council that had a meeting on Saturday. So things are starting to open up. We'll have like COVID protocols we'll need to follow, and anything in person, I would request that only fully vaccinated people attend. But stay tuned for more details. We'll have those worked out soon. In January, our friend Kirk Klingensmith from Corning is going to do a talk on fly fishing in Florida. He spends a lot of time there, among other places. And Kirk is also, he's the president of the, they call it the Twin Tiers Five Rivers FFI chapter. So it's another Fly Fishing International, I believe that FFI stands for. And so he's kind of becoming a good technical resource. And they did their meeting actually last week for the first time in person, as well as doing it remotely. So he's given me a lot of good ideas on how to handle the technology in this new world. And the other meeting in February, we have a really good fly tyer, Bob Herson. And also we'll do a preview. There's a fishing show in Niagara Falls coming up later on, I think it's the weekend of February 19th, from like the 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th of February. The Niagara Fishing and Outdoor Expo show will be going back on right in downtown Niagara Falls, New York. So we'll get kind of a preview of that. There's going to be more emphasis on fly fishing at the show this year, and they have some really big guest speakers lined up for that. March is Tim Flagler will be doing some fly tying with us. He'll be doing that remotely, I believe. At least that's the current plan. And we still are looking for someone in April. So hopefully we'll, that's really the only open spot we have in this season schedule. And then May and June, we're going outside, and July. So in Saturday, May 14th, we're going to do our intro to fly fishing school at Ononda Park on Canandaigua Lake. And we're looking forward to doing it. We haven't done that in quite a while, since I think 2015 was the last time we had the school. So we'll have a brand new one. We've postponed it twice already, so the third time will be the charm, we hope. And then in June 11th, Saturday, June 11th, we'll have a picnic and also reinvigorate our One Fly Challenge, kind of little friendly fishing competition on the Cohocton River. And then in July, we'll go bass fishing again. We got permission to do that again in Boughton Park in East Bloomfield. So we got a pretty full year. We just got to plug in. We have a couple of possibilities for April, and then once we get that, the schedule will be full for us this season. And There we go. Larry Charette just joined us. There he is. And so if you have any questions on any of our future programs, be sure and get back to us. And so the next thing, this is on my monthly plea for volunteers. We do have 2 vacancies on our board of directors. So if you are interested in helping out and helping design these programs, that would really be appreciated. And I wanted to thank Jerry and Ralph, who've completed their tour on the board, for all the really good ideas and hard work both of them did for us. So we got a couple of spots open, and we'll reach out to, a couple of prospects that we think might be good on this. And then just the usual things coming up as we organize the intro to fly fishing. We'll also be looking for volunteers for that. I just admit a couple of more people here. We're getting up to 15 people in the meeting so far. So that's actually good attendance tonight. Okay, get that off of there. And then any of the other things. If you have any fishing tips, photos, anything to help us that we can put in our either Facebook site or website or things, that's always a big help. And as far as conservation, let me go on to that update. Al Kraus is not able to make it to the meeting tonight, so he sent me a couple of updates he wanted me to cover for him. As we've mentioned, Embrace a Stream project on the Cohocton River at the crossroads. We had to postpone the heavy equipment things that we were going to do on the river because of all the rain we had. First, we were going to do it in July, and we got flooded out, and they were going to do it in September, and we had heavy rain again. So we've postponed that until next year, and we'll let you know as soon as we get the go ahead. We're working with the Steuben County Soil and Water Conservation Department to do a lot of the heavy equipment work on the project. So we have to coordinate it with those folks. And then the other thing that Al is doing is he's volunteered to collect flies for the Casting for Recovery program. We donated, I forget how many it was. It was probably, close to 100 flies, I think, for the last retreat. Casting for Recovery is a wonderful program for breast cancer survivors, where they're taught how to fly fish, and the upstate New York retreat is held at the Tailwater Lodge on the Salmon River. And they were able to do that this year and had a really good time. And the flies that we donated previously were used in the program. So Al has organized this. So if you'd like to volunteer to donate or to tie flies for him, please get in touch with him. We haven't gotten too many so far, so he wants to get at least 100 flies. Now, if you tie flies like I do, where I always joke that the flies I tie look like something that hit my windshield. So I would tend to, you can also donate what we call pocket emergers, which are basically go to Orvis and buy some flies. And that would also help fill up these boxes, which is probably what I might do. So you reach into your pocket and buy some flies. And other than that, not much conservation news. We just need the waters to go down. We haven't heard yet on the trout stocking if the DEC will allow us to volunteer with that again. Hopefully we'll be getting back into that next spring. Oh, and one big change in trout fishing that's occurred this fall is that we now have a open catch and release season for trout. It started on October 16th and goes to March 31st. Previously, October 15th, it was you had to put your fly rod away, and you weren't allowed to fish in our inland rivers. But now the DEC changed that regulation, so it's a catch and release, artificial lures only season from mid-October through the end of March. And they're evaluating. The big thing they're looking for is if there's going to be any impact to especially brown trout spawning that occurs in the fall in October. And so they're monitoring whether this new catch and release season is going to have a negative or no impact to trout spawning. But after that's done, I would say pretty soon, I wouldn't even worry about, spawning should be done probably another week or so. So the nice thing about this new catch and release season is if you have mild weather and, late November or December or, one of those kind of mild winter days, I think this will really open up some really nice fishing opportunities on some of these streams like the Cohocton River. And so I'm looking forward to being able to fish this winter down there. Let's see. So Will, do we have any updates on veteran programs or?
No, we're pretty much on hold while the construction goes on at the VA down in Canandaigua. And we haven't been too successful getting, even if we could go out, we haven't been very successful identifying veterans in the community.
Okay.
So we're sort of on hold still. It's some of the Project Healing Waters chapters that meet outside in the warmer parts of the United States have had some outdoor activities, but we haven't.
Okay. On Saturday, the state meeting I attended. Do you know a fellow named Keith Tidball? He's
no, I don't.
He gave a really good talk on veteran programs, including some other program called Rivers for Recovery, another veteran program. So I may connect you and John and Max to him to, see if that might be something we could get involved with.
Okay.
All right, so stay tuned. Hopefully we do that because these veteran programs were really meaningful things and very popular programs for people to get involved with. So that's kind of the business conclusion of that part of our meeting. Yeah, pretty much on time here. So without further ado, I wanted to introduce our guest speaker, Don Hart, who's lives in London, Ontario, is also a longtime client of God's River Lodge in Manitoba. And Don's retired now after he had a very long career in various companies and sales management. He was telling me he had territories that would be like, the province of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, or just huge areas. So it sounded like he was glad to get off the road. So here's a couple of images of this place. So I'm gonna switch screens and shut up and introduce our guest speaker. Let's just bring his presentation up. And Don and I have gotten to know each other pretty well the past month or so as we've prepared this. And this is a really exciting looking place. So without further ado, Don, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Gordon. And members of the Canandaigua chapter of Trout Unlimited, thanks very much for inviting us to your meeting. And it's our pleasure indeed to give you an introduction to God's River Lodge. First of all, I'd just like to introduce one person who is present, Dennis Mckay. Dennis is a member of the governing council of God's River. And I found out from a member of the God's River community that Dennis is also a longtime fly fisherman. And I understand, Dennis, please forgive. I understand that his father was also a fly fisherman and made his own flies from feathers. Might be able to squeeze some secrets in fly fishing the river, as he is definitely a master at that as well. Ask him questions at any time. He'd be very pleased to answer any.
Okay,
They're very experienced in the lake and the river. As Gordon said, my name is Don Hart. My wife and I used to fish northern Ontario. And then in 2002, we discovered God's River Lodge, and we were very attracted by the size of the lake, the 4 species of fish available, and particularly the river and the availability of the brook trout. So we took a shot in 2002, and the rest is history. We are very happy to provide you with an introduction to God's River Lodge, offering a world-class natural brook trout fishery. It's a fly fisherman's dream. Next, please, Gord.
okay. Oh, sorry there.
That's
Okay.
okay. The geographic location of God's River. We're an all-exclusive fly fishing lodge in northern Manitoba, located 365 miles northeast of Winnipeg, Manitoba. I don't know if all the participants at this meeting know where Winnipeg, Manitoba is, but at trade shows, we're often asked, where is Winnipeg? It's just a few miles north of North Dakota. Next, please, Gord. Okay, this is a slide of the lodge and the surrounding area, give you an idea of our area, God's River.
So this is a little video we're gonna play now.
That's our main lodge. Our boat dock on the river. Watch again. Some eagles up in the air. A walleye. That's a calmer part of our river, as you'll see later. This video was produced by Ben Bloodworth. You'll hear more about him later. A member of Trout Unlimited in Colorado. That's his girlfriend, Donna. They were really asphyxiated with northern because they don't get them that big. Here's a little rougher spot of the river. Community in the background. Aerial view of the lodge and the mouth of the lake and the river. This is a plane we use to go to Seaman's Outpost on day trips at the present time. 6 Mile Rapids. 6 miles from the lodge, that is. That'll give you an idea of the lodge and the surrounding area, a bit of our lake and a bit of our river. Next, please, Gord.
There we go.
This is the main lodge is located on the left. Then there's the guide shack and the utility room in the middle. The 2 cabins on the right. And the docks located just in front of the cabins, right on the river. The river's to the right, the lake to the left, about a 2-minute ride. Next. The main lodge consisting of a conference room, TV, lounging area, tackle shop, kitchen, office spaces, and dining room. The conference room is just above the dining area. Stairs to the right. And then the photo on the left, pardon me, on the right. Oh, you can't see it, or at least I can't see it for Gordon. But there's stairs on the right leading up to the rooms above, which house the people coming into the community Manitoba telephone system, airport maintenance crews, etc. Next. In 2016, we began demolishing our cabins A and B and replaced them with new winterized deluxe accommodation. The new cabins were up and available for our 2017 season, and boy, were they a welcome addition to all our guests. Next.
There we go.
The main cabins. Slide shows the common area of the main cabin, a front view and a view towards the back of the cabin. Photo on the left shows a door to one of the bedrooms. They house a capacity of 8 people, consist of a large sitting area with refrigerator, coffee machine, safe Wi-Fi, satellite television, etc. Next. Next, Gordon.
Okay.
No.
Which one?
Yeah, no, one more. Yeah, the main cabin bedrooms.
Okay.
There's 2 main cabins. They have 4 bedrooms each with 2 beds and a bathroom complete with toilet, shower, and wash basins. Next. Connected smaller cabins. Attached to the main cabins are 2 smaller ones on each side with 2 beds, and again complete with all washroom facilities and all the amenities mentioned in the previous slide, including television, Wi-Fi, and they're also winterized. Next. And this is very important, the strategic location of the lodge and the docks. Really important to some guests on bad weather days, particularly, who don't want to battle a lake. Boy, oh boy, can it get pretty rough. Our docks are on the river. Jump in your boat, head downriver. You can fish for brookies in the river, northern in the bays, and likely catch some walleyes as well. Next. What a gorgeous lake. And boy, oh boy, is it aptly named God's Lake. God's Lake is over 65 miles long, 20 miles wide, and it covers 1,300 square feet of pristine wilderness. It's fed by over 40 rivers and streams, but only has one outlet, God's River. The lake has many, many shoals, drop-offs, bays, etc., to provide us with some of the best possible fishing anywhere. The lodge can be absolutely full, and you might never see another boat all day. And it's inhabited by 3 main species of fish. Okay, Gordon. First of all, our monster lake trout. Trolling in June, mid-September has produced 40 plus pounds to depths of only 18 to 15 feet. And later on in the summer, July and August, first part of September, is a lake trout follow the cooler waters down to anywhere between 80 and 200 feet. At that time, if you want to fish for the lake trout, you fish from the bottom with half-ounce jigs and grubs, and they've produced really, really good results. Next. Our really colorful walleye. It all starts in late May or early June. Once the ice has melted on God's lake, walleye is the word. You can certainly catch trophy walleye in numbers so plentiful, you'll wonder where the heck they come from. They average in size from 3 to 7 pounds, 23 to 30 inches, and I'm sure there's larger ones available if the smaller ones stay out of the way. During the summer months, the walleye venture throughout the main lake. It's mind-blowing. Walleye fishing is what you really like. We can produce for you. Next. Northern pike, the monster of the north. These guys can be found in most bays, and they can be found in quantity and quality in many of the lakes, bays, etc. As a matter of fact, you might catch one anywhere on the lake or river while you're fishing for other species. These northern can range up to 48 inches. And again, I'm sure there are larger available. Their girth is unusually large, disputing the nickname. They have sometimes been labeled as snakes. When you hook into one of these guys, you can prepare for a decent battle. Next. The magnificent God's River. And boy, oh boy, is it ever. God's River carries the water from God's Lake over 250 miles north to Hudson Bay. There are numerous whitewater areas to the river. We can run and fish 60 miles downriver before the first portage at Kidney Falls. And that happens to be the main spawning ground for the brook trout. Next. Before I get into some photos of the fish, I want to talk about our guides. I can't say enough about these fellas, whether it's a lake or navigating the river and its many whitewater areas, they'll put you on the fish. They are impatient to find the right spot and will move constantly until they do. All our river guides were born and raised in the community of God's River. They've been navigating the lake and the river since childhood, and I certainly believe that they would be the envy of any lodge anywhere. I know for sure, having been a guest for so long at God's River Lodge, they are the ambassadors of the lodge and the reason we return year after year. Next. And here are some of our best guides. Notice the double header brook trout on the left. Next. And
This
now
is
our guide's amazing skills in the whitewater areas. We'll just play a short video showing you some of the whitewater areas. Catch a brook trout in that kind of water, and boy, oh boy, you're in for a, you think you have a whale. remember the first time my wife and I left the lodge to go down the river. We went down to 40 Mile one day. And the first set of whitewater was a white knuckle trip for us, I'll tell you. We couldn't believe how those guys were ever going to get through the whitewater river.
So it's a pretty wide river.
Yeah, it is. That's a bit about our river and the guides. Next, Gord.
There we go. There's some big fish.
Yeah, as a guest of God's River Lodge, you'll be located at the start of one of the best natural brook trout fisheries in the world. Fishing God's River with our experienced Cree guides is an experience all must try. The extreme beauty of the brook trout's colorful marking and the incredible fight of these prize beauties can make this a dream come true, giving you a memory that could last a lifetime. Just to mention, the average size of these guys are anywhere from 3 to 8 pounds, 18 to 24 inches. Our brook trout are unmatched in size. Next. A few more pictures of these beauties. By the way, all these pictures have been within the last 4 years. And I have solicited them from the guests myself. And they're not, way back and yeah, right. I go up there and I don't get any. Go ahead, Gord. Many of our guests, they venture from their cabins in the evenings down to the river. Some of the finest brook trout can be caught right in front of the lodge and the cabins. A few years ago, I saw a lad from the community. He landed a 22-inch right off the dock. And this fella is Mike Cizak. He's from New Mexico. And he hooked a brookie on a bamboo rod, and here, caddis, right in front of the lodge. Go ahead. And another example, this guy was caught right across from the lodge. Lodge is just on the left shore. Go ahead, Gord. Conservation of our brook trout. We have a strict catch and release policy on brook trout, ensures their protection for generations to come. We have a catch and release policy on all species of fish, but one exception, you can have a shore lunch, but not with the brook trout. 100% catch and release. Go ahead, Gord.
What kind of fish do you eat in the shore launch?
You know what? I up there, you cannot tell the difference between northern and walleye. The water is so cold. The guides, they remove the backbone prior to cooking, so there's no bones. And myself, I can't tell the difference. Down here, I like walleye better. No, sorry, perch. And then walleye. Far away. We've been asked many times, is there any place to fish other than the boat? So here is 3 photos, one off the rocks. Yep. Go ahead. And also the shore. This guy here on the right, he's from Australia. And he was here in 2019 with, they had a really, really strange group. Australia, South Africa, and 2 from the US. How they got together, I'll never know. Charles is a member, is a retired member of the Australian Coast Guard. Go ahead. And you can also wait in the shadows. Start away down here.
Yeah, okay, I'll get it there.
Yeah, way down. That's a 3-minute video. Carry it down, Gordon.
Okay.
Just, you know, towards the end.
How cold is this river?
That's
Must
good.
be.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, she hooked your small northern, not quite what she was after. That guide's name is Donald Okamau, one of a very, very good river guides. Not much to hoo-hoo about.
Yeah, he sets a nursery for him.
What time of the year was this, Don?
Watch out.
That was August.
August, okay.
Yeah.
You're still dressed pretty warmly, but
Well, yeah, they had bad weather,
You're sounding grabbing.
but that is unusual for August. But unfortunately, most of their trip was countered by bad weather. Okay, Gordon, that's good. Okay, now I just want to share this with you. Ben Bloodworth came to the lodge with Donna. He's, as I mentioned before, a member of Trout Unlimited. He was president of Grand Junction chapter. And he was kind enough to supply us with recommended gear. And I like the way he's displayed it because it's in point form, very easy to read, not too many and, that, or what's. But I'll give you a chance to read it whenever you think, Gord, if you want to change it, go ahead.
okay. So he's for the river, for the brook trout,
Yes,
kind of medium weight, 7 to 8 weight rods. And then heavier gear for the lake, 8 to 10s. That's some big stuff there. And then sinking lines, intermediate to full sinking lines in the river, and but also bring some floating line in case you're doing any mouse flies or there is a hatch. And pretty big leaders, it looks like they're recommending, probably because you're going to encounter pike, and so you don't want anything too fine to get it bit off too easily. So he's recommending 20 to 30 pound leaders.
well, the pike can get darn big.
Yeah. Yeah, you may even want to put a wire tippet on.
And you know, 48 inches might not seem like much, but the girth is of the pike is unusual compared to the ones we get around here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And these are the flies that he recommends, and he's itemized them again for trout and walleye, and then at the bottom for pike. But he's very specific in what he says. And a lot of this information, we have 2 more recommendations of equipment from other people, and they seem to be pretty well the same.
Yeah, mostly streamer fishing.
Yeah, they mentioned that a lot.
Yeah, so you're imitating. There is some hatch. I remember one of the guests mentioned that down here. This is, I won't read all this to everyone. We can, if you want to see these, let us know.
Yeah, there it is on the first one.
Yeah.
About the hatch. That's fellow Jim Lee. He's also from not Arizona, New Mexico.
Okay. So,
And again, for pike fishing, he recommends a 9-weight or a 10-weight fly rod.
yeah, big game.
But we went to a lot of trouble asking these people to provide, before they went out fishing, we asked them to follow the gear and the flies that they were using so that we could be of help and assistance to fly fishermen coming into the lodge and providing them with this kind of information.
Do most of your traditional clients are spin fishing? Is
Yeah.
that why?
Yeah,
Okay.
they have been for years and, but, you know, I spoke to the lodge and the management and they agreed that certainly with the availability of the river and the brook trout, that we should be concentrating much more on fly fishing and
Okay.
fly fishing people. And therefore it follows in a minute, our spiel on that.
Okay.
And then, yeah, this fellow, some more information on it. All this information is available for you if you'd like to read it on Gordon's taping of this.
Also, I think this was on your website, all these.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll give you that link too. But yeah, a lot of good tips. So
Well, you can, you know, if you do decide to come to the lodge, you can come prepared.
okay. Beautiful fish here. Yeah, and Scott's actually giving tips there on fishing in that big current there.
Yeah. And that's his son, Sean. He was in the picture previously of Off the Rocks. And again, he mentions the streamers.
Yeah.
And the 7-weight.
And then down here, they're talking about the heavier kind of because of the
Yeah.
pike there. So they're using pretty heavy fluorocarbon leaders and all right.
I just wanted you to read this testimonial. Number one, because it's new. And number two, because if you do consider going to the lodge, here's what September 2021 guests had to say. Just leave you a few minutes to read it.
Yeah, so this was the Canadian border wasn't open to Americans until I think September 9th or so. So these guys
Yeah.
were right on top of it.
And you know what? I'll be very honest with you. We only had 4 guests in September. We had 22. And then the airline came in with the protocol that you must show a negative test 72 hours prior to departure of the airplane. This was not a government regulation. And so they canceled out because, you know, the tests are $300 in Winnipeg. They would have to stay an extra night to get the test. These guys drove from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So they had no problem at the border whatsoever because, as I mentioned before, it was an airline protocol.
Yeah. Now, one of the things to remember too is you basically were almost effectively out of business, really, for the past 2
years.
seasons.
2 years.
Yeah, you missed all of 2020 and most of 21.
Well, I missed the fishing, but even more important, community of God's River Lodge. The people in the community rely a lot on the lodge to provide employment. And now they've been out of employment for 2 years as well.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a blow, as it has been to our communities as well.
Yeah, so this is quite an endorsement. This fellow, he's fished in all over America and New Zealand, Bahamas, and
he just sent his deposit for a reservation the first part of July. So they're coming back.
Okay. And we have some
That's-
more.
Yeah, Charlie Grimm, he's from, the guy on top left is from Australia. The other fellow's from US. I wanted to put this in because of the recommendation they make about the guides. These guys, they never quit talking. I spoke on the phone to all of them while they were at the lodge, and they could never quit talking about the guides and the dedication they had to the guests. Which I'm really happy about, because over 19 years, I've made very good friends with a lot of the guides and the people of the community as well.
Yeah, okay.
That's a pair from the US, and again, they talk about the guides. And this was our last full year of fishing, 2019. So all these are recent. That'll give you an idea of what to expect when you come to the lodge. I wanted to put this on. David did not take any pictures, as he strives to return each fish unharmed to the water as quickly as possible. Sorry. But he did catch fish. Their primary concern was brook trout over 4 half days. They managed 50 plus brookies, including 10 masters up to 23.5 inches. Now, they talk about masters because the government of Manitoba have set limits for all species of fish and qualified them as master. You fill out a form at the lodge sends it into Manitoba, and they send you a certificate or a button of your master angler catch.
Yeah, okay.
This is my my bonus to the lodge. I love the outdoors. I love getting out of the hustle and bustle of city life, and the clean, fresh air, the beauty of the area, and the many possibilities to view of the local wildlife. And here's just a few. This guy up here, it was really funny. We went into a place called Little Gods fishing for walleye in June. And I guess he heard the motor. He just stood up, and it was like, what the heck are you doing here? This is my territory. And this guy, we caught him in 2016 swimming across the river. But it's just beautiful. This is the picture on the right, Gordon, that I made mention I should use for a background.
Now in the summer, you get
It
that
just
real long daylight.
represents to
too,
me
right?
just the solitude of, pardon me?
In the summertime, you'll get that real late daylight.
Yeah, you do. It's, you can, it's pretty well daylight until July and August, June, even June, July and August, around 9, 10 at night, you can still be on the boat.
Hmm.
But that just depicts the solitude of the place to me. Perfect destination for fun. Now, I'll open any questions. Dennis, do you have anything to add? Well, maybe Dennis has his mute.
Yeah, Dennis is muted.
Dennis, can you put your, unmute your button on the toolbar on the
Can you
bottom?
hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Dennis.
There's some, there's one species of fish here that they didn't mention.
Whitefish?
That's the whitefish, and they're in the same spots as the brook trout, and you can see them popping out their tails from the first week of July to about maybe the third week of July, when they're going after the fish or the hatch that year. they range from maybe 3 pounds to about 12 pounds. And they're just as uh,
Feisty?
but feisty, yeah. Yeah, that's the word. That's brookies, and you come up with a lighter leader, like 6 pounds to 8 pounds, and you can go a little bit lighter on the hatch that you can tie on. Most times you just use the caribou thing that's hollow, and you can go on top, and something a little bit more brownish where you can match the hatch that year, and they're really phenomenal. I got more whitefish than brook trout through my years of going down river. We're going down to about 60 miles and came right up, and every July we used to go there for 2 weeks, and we'd go on to our shorts and our just bare feet and just go in the water. And there's some places here you can just you can swim and just catch the fish that you want, so to speak. And there's hundreds of fish down there, especially those when you go in between the rocks where they are and where the motors can't go in. And there's bigger and smaller fish there, and they're in abundance. If you find them, it takes a while to and you don't need 4 days. You need like I said, we went down for 2 weeks there with there's about 5 or 6 of us that go down there just for fishing with the family. Yeah, and it's really phenomenal if you really want to go fly fishing. And I would go down a week. I would go down and maybe beginning in July to the 3rd week of July there. That's when it's really good with brookies. And I go down with a lighter line. These guys are a little bit heavier because there's more action in lighter stuff, and it's really a dream to go down there, especially with the lighter line. It's more of a challenge. Yeah, brings back lots of memories when I go through this one. And me and my dad used to go down there all the time, and my little brothers, and it's just it was just a treat every summer going down there.
How far down are you talking
remembering
about,
all
Dennis?
this stuff? Yeah.
How far down are you talking about, Dennis?
Say again?
How far down are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, from the lodge all the way to 60 miles down, 70 miles down.
Okay. Is that the first portage, correct?
I think we went past the portion of Bear Falls. That's where they're talking about, Mckay Falls, that area. Yeah.
Okay.
Down below Sturgeon Falls. Yeah. It's way down there. Yeah.
All right, great.
Yeah. It's,
Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah.
Any other questions for anybody? Got a bit of a dish.
Okay, so let's roll to the second.
Okay, next screen.
chapter.
This is newsletter highlights that we just recently put out to a lot of our guests that we have on our guest registry. We initiated the new catch and release policy, no taking home fish anymore. And this policy will conform to all the lodges in the area, and in fact, most lodges overall. The lodges ordered 5 new boats and 5 new 40 horsepower outboard motors, and they plan to follow that up with the same order in 23. Here's a new campsite offer coming in 2022. Michael at the lodge assures us that it'll be ready for the 2022 season, and I sure hope so, because I'm going to go. Go ahead, Gordon. A new thrilling outdoor experience. Get to the fish for the brook trout in a very lightly fished area of the river. These are not pictures of 40 Mile. I stole them off the internet. Go ahead. Option number one, take a 2-day, 1-night trip to 40 miles. Hang on a second. I had you in there, Gordon. I couldn't read it. Fish along the way and then enjoy one night in the beautiful surroundings of 40 Mile Rapids. In the morning, eat a hearty bacon and egg breakfast with steaming hot cup of coffee, return to the lodge the next day and fish along the way and enjoy the beauty of the magnificent river. Option number two is exactly the same, only you can stay for two nights, 3 days. And at the second day downriver, then you can go where Dennis suggests, past 40 Mile down to 60. And that's a September spawning grounds for the brook trout, which is about another hour downriver past 40 Mile.
So the 40 miles comes from, it's 40 miles from the mouth of the lake, right?
40 miles from the lodge, yeah.
Mhm.
And you know, 60 Mile. And when we talk about 6 Mile Rapids, it's 6 Mile downriver.
Okay.
Go ahead. These were two fishing partners that came in 2019, and they were focused on brook trout 100%. They figured they caught and raised 70 during their 4-day stay at the lodge. They went downriver to 40 Mile, went just on a day trip, came back, and they caught and released 26 of them. And at the bottom, a note from Michael. We envision a very comfortable, picturesque campsite environment, spacious tents, air mattresses, sleeping bags, clean outhouse, picnic table, fire pit, cooking utensils, and all the necessary items for outdoor living in the wilderness. It will truly be a majestic experience. Go ahead, Gordon. We've always had an interest in attracting more fly fishers to the lodge. With the excellent lake and the river and 4 species of fish, should satisfy most preferences of anybody. We have not, however, aggressively pursued the very large market of fly fishing. And our knowledge of fly fishing techniques, etc., was very, very limited. So in 2019, we invited two very prominent members of Trout Unlimited to attend the lodge and work with management and our guides on the more technical points of fly fishing. Ben and Donna worked for 10 days with 4 different guides on the many aspects of fly fishing, handling a fish, boat positioning, areas to wade, safety, etc. And their knowledge and suggestions on fly fishing techniques, conservation, and safety were very well received by the guests and management and appreciated very much, and they will be fully implemented. Go ahead. Ben and Donna, they're returning to the lodge on June the 18th for 10 more days to further assist us. And also he will film, in his words, a real 20-minute or so fly fishing film about fishing for brookies. And he also states maybe something next summer, 2022, to take advantage of the remote camps and get down to those lesser fish waters to see if we can get a 30-incher. I honestly believe there are brookies that size in the river. Go ahead, Gordon.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
Still far away from being experts in the art of fly fishing, we believe that we are ready and fully and efficiently entertain more fly fishers and provide them with good accommodations, meals, an excellent lake and river, and a guide fully interested and capable in providing you with the best fishing and outdoor experience possible. And there's nowhere better, in our opinion, to start than a great and well-recognized conservation organization such as Trout Unlimited. We will introduce a program to you, which we have developed exclusively for your council chapters and members. And we call the program Something for Everyone. And here's how it works. Again, a lot of reading. For the council's chapters and members of Trout Unlimited in the states of New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Massachusetts.
And here we go.
For the members, I'll sort of capsulize this because there's some bit of reading and a lot of information. For the members, July, August, and September 2022, first fly fisher pays full price, and the second 50% off the full price, which would amount to in the case of a 4-day fishing package for two, $19.50 US per person. I haven't listed what it includes, but it includes airfare from Winnipeg to God's River and return, meals, accommodation, boat, motor, and guide, which represents a $1,300 saving from our list price. 5-day fishing package for $21.75, $14.50 savings, and a 7-day fishing package for $25.88 US per person. We have really crunched the numbers to the bare bones on this one to try and get more fly fishers to the lodge. Go ahead, Gordon.
Yeah, and that's not bad pricing considering everything you said that includes the flight and the lodging.
Yeah,
and
it
meals
includes
and-
everything. Once you
Yeah.
get to Winnipeg, in the morning, we pick you up. And then additionally, for each 12 fishing packages of 2 from any of the combined chapters of Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts, we will offer a free 5-day all-inclusive trip to God's River Lodge for one of the 12 groups, the winning group to be determined by a draw. And the packages can be combined between the chapters of all the states to qualify, and only the groups of 2 must travel together. And there's an example at the bottom, just to make it clear. 4 groups of 2 fly fishers from any of the Pennsylvania chapters, 2 from Massachusetts, 2 from New Jersey, 4 from New York would qualify for a free trip draw. Go ahead, Gordon. It includes 2 nights hotel accommodation. Whoop, I got your picture there, Gordon.
Yeah, just move it around there.
Prior to your departure to the lodge and upon your arrival from the lodge. 4 $30 meal vouchers for hotel in Winnipeg. Don't forget, this is a free trip for 2. Return air transportation between God's River Lodge and Winnipeg. Customer service representative will meet you in Winnipeg if required to make sure that you get to your hotel for the night. You will be advised at that time of your flight next day to the lodge and picked up for transport for the airport terminal. All accommodation, meals at God's River Lodge, qualified and experienced guides, boat, motor, and fuel, maximum of 2 people per boat. Incredible scenery, beautiful scenery, and superb fishing.
You mentioned to me you have an actual airstrip at God's River, right? It's not a float plane, but it's you actually land on you have your own.
Yeah, it's called Perimeter Airlines. If it's not a charter, it could be a charter, which is also out of Winnipeg, of course. And the regular Perimeter Airline services quite a few northern Native communities,
Okay.
but they have their own airstrip and airport. Go ahead, Gordon. Doesn't include provincial and federal taxes on any purchases at the lodge, fishing license, excess baggage, gratuities, and alcohol. Go ahead. Closing date for the reservations, March 31st, 2022. A deposit, $600 deposit must be submitted at the time the reservation is made, and full payment must be received by April 30th. The draw for the free trips will take place when all reservations have been paid for. If any group of two cancel after placing a reservation and being in a group qualifying for the free trip could be jeopardized if no replacement would be forthcoming. And just a note about our deposits. If anybody wants to make a reservation, we require a deposit of $600 per person to guarantee the reservation. In this case, the lodge has deviated from its regular policy and will fully refund or transfer to any other date any money paid for deposits or trip if the cancellations are necessary as a result of any COVID-19 related issues, lockdowns, border crossings, etc.
Now, let's hope we don't do that.
You're not kidding. Like I've missed 2 years already.
Hey, Don, I might have missed it, but are these US funds or Canadian funds, dollars that you're quoting?
No, it's specified on the slide US.
Is it? Okay, I must have missed it. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's all.
There it is. Yep, thank you.
Okay, no problem, John.
Is there a tax on top of these fees, Don, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I'm sorry, I should have got to that. I know there's tax on some things and not on others. And also just one tax on something. If anybody wants me to clarify that, I certainly will.
Okay. Yeah, you have the GST, Canadian tax, right?
There's GST and PST.
Yeah, okay.
And some things, both of them apply, some things they don't both apply.
Okay.
All right, fire away. For reservation, yeah, our offer continues for the councils and chapters. For every reservation booked and paid for as per above, conditions for awarding the free trip, we will donate $100 to the appropriate council and $100 to the chapter in which the reservation was made. Donations earned will be forwarded when all reservations have been confirmed and paid for after April 30th, 2022 deadline. Can I answer any questions about the Something for Everything program? Many thanks to Gordon for allowing us the opportunity of presenting our lodge to you, and we hope you've enjoyed it. Any further queries or comments? Michael Yellowback, God's River Lodge Manager, or myself as a reservation customer support representative. And let me tell you something about myself, gentlemen. If I'm asked a question about the lodge, the fishing, the meals, anything, you will get 100% straight goods. I will not embellish. I will not hide anything. I will tell you exactly as if I find it as a guest of the lodge. That's the end of the presentation, fellas, and I hope you've enjoyed it.
So to summarize the deal here, it's basically if you get a team of two folks, it's basically 25% off. And then you can see
Yes, each.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's a pretty significant savings. And then there'll be a drawing for each of the 12 packages. And potentially you could get, if you win that drawing, some extra hotel accommodations and some of this.
That draw will be for one of the members of the 12 groups.
Okay.
One group, 2 people will receive the free trip.
So I assume your Canadian, your Manitoba fishing license, you can buy that online.
Yes, prior to, as a matter of fact, we make a hotel arrangement in Winnipeg at the international airport for a preferred rate. And also I send out to everybody that contract so they can call and know the code to put in, etc. And I also include the website for the application for a fishing license online.
Okay,
So anybody that makes a reservation gets that information
okay.
in
And
an
then,
acknowledgement.
Let's see, you mentioned, let's see, do people bring their own alcohol if they want to, or I know some areas, at least in the US and native areas are dry. Is that similar in Canada or?
Yeah, the native community is a dry community.
Okay,
However, our guests are allowed to bring, alcohol to the lodge. They
okay.
do sell beer. I'll be very honest. I take my own because it's very, very expensive to have to fly everything up to the lodge. So the beer and the spirits are damn expensive.
You were telling me it's actually quite a feat to get supplies up to the lodge. Anything, building materials or everything. Talk about how they do that, how they keep the lodge supplied.
Dennis, do you want to chime in on this?
There's two different ways, the cheap way and the expensive way. The cheap way is to bring it in the winter road, which is about 18-hour drive from Winnipeg to here. And the expensive way is to fly it in, and it's like close to $2 a pound or something like that. If it's with your baggage. But if you put it on cargo, it's a little bit cheaper, but you don't get it for a while. They really make you pay the airline.
So in the winter, you actually have to wait for it's like an ice road, right? It's
a provincial road. They put it up every year. It goes through land. They try to get away from the ice. They just want to go through land. That's why it takes a little bit longer. And you can drive it in. The lodge can drive it in. Or in the past, they used to make arrangements, and it was a lot cheaper to bring it in that way instead of paying Norman Lake through there.
Yeah, that's a big challenge.
I even think the members of the community bring in non-perishable goods and stuff like that for the summer, don't they, Gordon? Or Dennis?
Yes, they do. Yeah, and most of the stuff that we get is through our northern store that the north, and it's very expensive. Yeah. Very
You're
expensive.
not kidding. When I was up there in January 2016, ouchie, wow. I went to that store. To give you an idea, I smoked at that time. I don't smoke anymore. But I think cigarettes are $23 a package.
That'll get you to quit.
It's about $25 now. So
Oh,
How
my
much?
God. $25 a pack. Oh.
And they bring in all their gas, I believe, don't they, Dennis?
yeah, they bring it in every year. Yeah, quite a bit. But I was in Winnipeg the other day, and it's almost the same as here. But they buy it a year ahead of time, and the price stays the same. But when it comes down to buying it, it's lots of money.
Yeah, I bet. And then you have to truck it. What did you say, 18 hours drive from Winnipeg to?
Yeah, it's about 18 hours. Yeah,
Wow, that's
it's about
hard.
8 hours from Thompson to Winnipeg.
And it's not a paved highway.
No. Yeah, it's about 5.5 hours to the basement, to the pavement from here. But that's going fast with a half ton. Yeah.
Dennis,
300 kilometers.
thanks a lot for coming in. Would you like to add anything else?
Most of the stuff that's been discussed here, it's been, I was involved with the lodge a long time ago. I was one of the board of directors there, and it's still pretty pretty much the same. So yeah, I see the prices. You really have to crunch your numbers on that price that I saw there. Yeah, it's you're really getting a good deal.
Yeah, well, it does interest me quite a bit. I'm actually a niece of mine and who lives in Toronto is getting married in July. So I said, oh, okay, I could probably combine that trip and then fly over to Winnipeg from Toronto after the wedding.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely personally interested in this, and hopefully we get some more folks that'll take advantage of this. Any other questions from the audience? I had one other thing I wanted to mention, and that is, let me bring up our deck here. Just what the travel situation is. We are allowed to travel to Canada now since September 9th, I believe. And actually, as of today, Canadians can cross the US border and visit us again. So that's really good news, because we do get a lot of tourists in this area from Canada. But I went up to visit my relatives in September, and it actually was pretty straightforward process to travel to Canada now. There's a app called ArriveCan, a smartphone app that you register the details of your trip, and it was really pretty straightforward. You just followed the directions. The important thing is you need to, for the most part, you have to be fully vaccinated. And one of the things the app did was actually take a picture of your COVID vaccination card, both sides of it, and then you needed to have a negative test, the PCR test, not the rapid test. And I did that at the U of R urgent care down in Canandaigua. It was free. I went up on a Saturday and I got the test and the test results. I did it on Thursday. So U of R turns that stuff around very quickly. And once you registered in the app, it actually only took me about 30 seconds to cross the border at Fort Erie. The Peace Bridge in Buffalo is where I like to cross. And it was really straightforward. They had all the records and very, little questioning or anything. So hopefully some of this might loosen up by next summer, but in case it doesn't, this is just the protocol now for going to Canada.
We have apps on our phone right now, as a matter of fact, Gordon. In Ontario, we require passports to go anywhere except grocery, pharmacy, and necessities. But to go to anywhere, any sporting event, bar, go out for dinner, we require what they're calling a vaccine passport, which we downloaded on our phones and we show them at the door.
Okay.
And you don't get in if you're not fully vaccinated and have a passport. I don't know, they have it in Manitoba, Dennis?
Yeah, they do. They got an app. You just download it, and or they send you a card where there's what do you call it? You got code that shows up, and you just show it to them, and they let you in. It's pretty much the same in Ontario.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere without it.
Well, we're now, and I think Manitoba is very similar. It was reported today that in Ontario, and I believe Manitoba was very, very close. We're almost 89% one dose. And we're almost 85% fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
And also our positivity rate is 1.2 out of about 20,000 tests a day. So we're, we're
You're in
We're
good
really-
shape.
well.
You're in very
Yeah.
good shape.
Yeah, it's coming down all over, but very slow.
Boy, slow, not the word.
Yeah. No, and I feel the pain that you must have felt the past 2 seasons. I mean, just to be wiped out like that and, closed down, that would have, would have been extremely painful, I bet.
Well,
Yeah.
painful for me as a fisherman, but really painful for the community of God's River that
Yeah.
depend on the employment. I'm a real supporter of the community of God's River. They're a wonderful bunch of people, and you go up there, as you saw in that one testimonial, they're wonderful people. And Michael at the lodge and Marcus Yellowback, they got, well, you saw that testimony from that guy in 2021. He couldn't say enough about how they were treated when they got there. And that guy's been to Belize, New Zealand, all over the world fishing.
Yeah, no, it's just a wonderful place.
Yeah, and the area too. I like, it's my dream world. I just hated the last 2 years, boy. I've 19 consecutive years and I never missed a year. And it's like I'm not 16 anymore and have a lifetime ahead of me.
All right, great. So let me put that last slide, if anyone wants that information. Let's see, let me bring that back up for Don and Michael's contact. We'll bring that up one last time and then wrap things up. So Don, here's his email address. It's dmh5837@gmail.com. And its phone number, area code 519-681-5837. And then Michael Yellowback, the manager of the lodge, you can reach at info@godsriverlodge.com, 800-665-4025. And the website is godsriverlodge.com.
Yeah, to access it, Gordon, it's best if you put www.godsriverlodge.com, all lowercase.
Okay. Yeah, it's actually a very, very good website that you've built. Lots of pictures, lots of information, and it just looks like an awesome place to go fishing. So I'm definitely going to try and get out there myself, and hopefully some other folks will. And
Thank you.
and we'll.
Well, any information you want, don't hesitate, please. And you'll get straight goods.
Okay, very
Hey,
good.
Don, did you tell them about the self-service here?
Pardon me?
Did you tell them about the self-service here?
The
The
what?
cell service, cell phone service.
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah, it works
Wi-Fi
here.
cell phone, 100% now,
Yeah.
everything. Text, telephone, data. And they have Wi-Fi in the cabins and and also the TVs in the main cabins are all satellite. You get everything. You
It
get
might cost
CNN.
them, from the States for the cell service, so, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Make sure
true.
that they have a Canadian, make sure you have a Canadian package or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you travel internationally, contact your cell carrier to make sure you don't, you're covered and.
Don't have to sell your house when you get home.
Yeah, exactly.
Sending all your fish pictures home.
But that's not I had a $200 charge once when I was doing, I was on a business trip in BC, and I think we were doing some online meeting and I dialed in or whatever, it was got that bill, and that was horrendous. It was about $250 for about a half
Ouch.
hour. So yeah, be careful. Get all that straightened out before you cross the border there. But that's amazing. I guess that's good and bad news. You get that high tech, you know, in the North Country there. But some people like to get away from.
Dennis, anybody wants to come to the lodge, can they, you know, it's very unusual that, I don't know if there's other fly fishers in God's River Lodge, but may they contact you for, you know, tips, information?
Yeah, they could get through Michael, yeah.
Okay. No, of course.
Yeah, that info.
This is not for, you know, amenities and stuff like that of the river, just maybe tips on
Yeah.
fly fishing.
All right,
Thanks a
great,
lot for
guys.
coming, too.
Well, thanks so much. Like I said, we've recorded this. So Don, once I get that saved off, I'll send you that link so you can use this for other groups you might approach. And, you know, good luck on getting visitors here. You were saying actually that this offer, it's July, August, September, right?
Yes,
Yeah, because June is really the real busy time.
That's a spinning season, but
Mhm.
yeah, but that's what you can go with the wet line and everything on
Mhm.
those, but
well, we're almost, as a matter of fact, we're almost full for June. To give you an idea of our 7-day package, it's 3,800
Mhm.
For 7 days in June, and we're almost full.
And in June, they're primarily doing the lake trout and the walleye fishing and
Everything.
everything in June. Okay.
Yeah, it's, as soon as the ice moves off the lake, they're nuts. It's just, it's crazy.
yeah, it's really phenomenal.
That
And
sounds like an awesome
I'm not
place.
a good fisherman, and that's the reason I go every year. Despite 19 years, my guide is a relative of Dennis's, as a matter of fact, for years, Michael Mckay.
That's Michael, yeah.
And I remember we were in Little Gods once fishing for walleye. And I said, Michael, I said, how many fish have I caught? Because I don't have a counter and I don't even count, but normally a guide will be able to tell you. And he just looked at me and he says, Don, he says, I don't count how many you catch, I count how many you lose. And I haven't changed much from that.
Okay,
But
good.
I you know, I love the outdoors and I love the fishing. It's easy.
Well, thanks a lot, Don and Dennis. It
Yeah.
was a really good talk there, and it just looks like a awesome, really great place. Well named, God's River and God's Lake.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, thank you, everybody, for attending. And as I mentioned, any questions, fire away.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, fellas, and thanks everyone who
Thanks,
attended
Dennis.
tonight.
Thanks, Don.
Okay. Good night, all.
See you.
Okay, good night.